and they asked me, can you come and share about your journey to go from homeless to $100 million worth of real estate today? No investor, no syndicating, it's all my own money. I got over 100 grand a month in passive income.
How do you find your deals, by the way?
That's a good question. Number one, we use you guys. This is the new age real estate investing. This is the new hack. But most people don't even understand it. Even investors. We right now are at the new run again.
So extra important to start now.
Yeah, super now. If it wasn't Charles Zettler, we'd be living in a home shelter. Well, for Charles Zettler, we wouldn't have got our first house. Springboard is more than just coaching people how to invest in real estate. They get to have the same vision of what I gone through, what Charles helped me. So
could you tell us, what does your business look like today, from the BRRRR strategy deals that you do to the multifamily properties that you have?
Yeah.
I understand you've got a pretty sizable net worth as well. So could you give us that, for those that don't know, so we have context about who we're hearing from?
Yeah, so today, I didn't start, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But today, I specialize in 3 niche. Single family, but I like buying single family where I can add value to it by rehabbing the property. And then today now with the new zoning coming across America with the ADUs.
Yep.
So when I buy a single family, I have to have a lot big enough where I can add more units on the property. Either 1, 2, 3, or tear down the old house and put all new construction on there. So single family. And then I have multifamily. And then I do apartment buildings.
Yes.
And so I do all 3 of them. And for the multifamily, I build from ground up. And then for the apartment, either I buy them already old and tired and I renovate the whole thing, or I scrape it, or I buy a piece of land and I built brand new apartment building from scratch.
And I heard you say one thing on social media before. You said the multifamily is such a big opportunity, but you do the BRRRR and the single family to inspire people.
That's right.
Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. I was just meeting with an investor here at the event, and he's newer at the game, and he's looking at doing this big commercial building, apartment building over here in Pittsburgh, you know, like 100 plus 200 unit apartment building with a bunch of syndicators, and he's running this thing, right? And right now he's been on this deal now for about 5+ years, and they still haven't got the okay from the city, capital money. So I'm doing all 3 of them. I do single family with ADU, which is called multifamily.
Yep.
I do multifamily townhouses anywhere up to like 10, 12 units, and then the apartment building. And a lot of people don't realize, unless you do it all from either rehab or from ground up, they don't realize which of these give you the best ROI for your money, your time, and your risk factor. But everybody thinks the bigger, the better.
Yes.
And so the apartment building, to me, it only works when the rates are low. The rates ain't favorable right now to do multifamily. But people don't realize that if you can do multifamily or houses with adding ADU, especially the ADU, the single family adding 1 or 2 ADU in the backyard, the ROI is even way better than multifamily and apartment building. Now, of course, you have to do a bunch more of those to get a 100-unit apartment building. But you wouldn't do a 100-unit apartment building right now because the rates are not to your favor. But you can do the single family with all the multifamily, with all the multi-unit in the back.
Yes.
And make it work at today's interest rate at 6.8, 7%.
Yes.
If you can make a cash flow, which you can at these rates, imagine what it look like when the interest rate is in the 5s.
Right.
It will
so
blow.
You're saying you can refinance it when the rates come down as well.
And now, but you do it now where you can create a lot of sweat equity on these deals. Because you buy an old house, you rehab it, so you're creating value. The backyard is free. It came with the house when you bought it. But now with all the affordable housing prices we have, city are letting, every big city right now is letting people, incentivizing people to, you can add another structure in the backyard.
Got it.
So when you do that, you didn't never pay for it. So your base is 0. All you got to pay for is construction. So that means that by the time you're done, you already spiking massive equity in it because there's no land value. And since the value is high, you have sweat equity. But also all you're doing is you're paying for construction. And so all you're paying for construction is going to be a way better cash flow opportunity because the value, like in Seattle, it cost me $350 to build a 1,000 square foot ADU, but it's worth about $700,000. And those $700,000 value are in $700,000 neighborhood. But I'm only in it for $350. But I rent it for $3,500. So I got the 1% rule.
Yes.
In an expensive market.
Yes, and if you wanted to sell it,
could
you split off an ADU as a separate piece?
Washington State and California State are the two states right now you can separate them and sell them separately.
Got it.
And all the other states are following right now as we're speaking. We're so much right now in the forefront of ADU right now, but most people don't even understand it, even investor, because they haven't seen it enough yet. Seattle was the first city that's doing ADU right now, and the first city that lets you separate them and sell them separately, which is the game changer.
Yeah. So I know in Austin, I've seen those as well, where they'll tear down a property and they'll build like a duplex where each side is worth $3 million and it's attached, right? Typically, I think of a duplex as like maybe a lower average price property, but it just goes to show you that a lot of the cities, they're wanting to build more density.
Yeah. I Google, is there ADU in Houston and Dallas? And it gave me the whole spec, exactly what it costs, what is the requirement to actually be ADU. So someone right now in Austin can buy a house and they can put an ADU in the back, but but you cannot separate them.
Yes.
But the cost of building with no land value, it will spike the whole entire thing as a bigger value.
So I just learned something right now. I always thought you continue to do single family because it was inspiring. Yeah. But actually, you're saying it just makes sense as well in when the interest rates are high.
That's right. And it's inspiring people to see, because my whole talk this week, this is the new age real estate investing. This is the new hack.
A new age.
New age.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, you flew 4 hours here, right? Yeah. Your time is very valuable. Yeah. So actually, tell us why you're here at the Better Life Conference and what you hope people walk away from. What do you want them to remember?
Yeah, they asked me to be one of the keynote speakers.
Yep.
And they asked me, can you come and share about your journey to go from, homeless, coming from Vietnam, to $100 million worth of real estate today with no investor, no syndicating, it's all my own money. And talk about what are you buying today?
Oh, I didn't even know you did the big multifamily without syndication.
No, I don't do no syndication, bro. I do everything myself.
Why don't you do syndication?
I did it when I was younger.
You did?
Yeah. And if I had a choice today, which I do, I prefer not to. To me, I like peace of mind. I'm 55 years old. We don't need a gazillion dollars. I got over 100 grand a month in passive income. My cost of living is like 30 grand. So how much more do you really need to really be happy and aligned, right? So why would I want to put a gun in my head at 55 reporting to a boardroom full of investors if I didn't have to? And I'm clear on why I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it so I can make more money, because what's another $100 million? Well, why would it make it? It wouldn't make any difference in my life. But if I'm going to do it, I want to do it on my own term. I want to do it where I can have fun at it, inspire people, create more net worth, but have peace of mind.
Yeah, your goal is directing you. And I'm not a football fan, but I just learned this about Tom Brady.
Yes.
He didn't ask for the highest salary. He wanted to win Super Bowls. So he took a lower salary so they could add extra salary to extra players.
Yes.
And so I thought that was fascinating. It kind of sounds like what you've opted for is like maybe the syndication would allow more money, but it's not aligned with your goals.
That's right.
To be fully independent and have a nice night's sleep.
Yeah, because when I was younger, right? Every investor happy when shit's going right. But everybody's freaking on your doorstep when shit ain't going right.
Yeah.
And you can't sleep, man. They be like, and of course, they're not blaming you, but they also putting a little bit of pressure on you, like, man, I invested in it, I was hoping it would go this way.
If you care about long term, you need to listen, and you will be listening to that. And listening can be stressful.
I'm such a heart person.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to sleep when I have my friend's money, my cousin's money, you know what I mean, in deals where the market turned, I just couldn't do nothing about it. And I got to ride it out. You know what I mean?
Did that ever happen to you?
Of course. It happened to me twice. And that's why I don't need 3 times the charm. You know what I mean?
Well, what did you do?
Well, I had to ride out. So the first time it happened to me, it was a 251 unit apartment building we built. And we had to raise $9 million. $2 million was out with my own money. The rest of it was friends and family money. And we built it as a condo. And by 2002, we sold it. We broke ground 2026. We pre-sold all of it in the first, 2 months. It took us 2 years to build it. By the middle of 2008, which is where the crash happened, right?
Yep.
200 out of 251 people withdraw from their purchase and sale. And they can do that because the public offering statement cannot be written until the building is complete.
Okay.
So that's the last thing that people can actually still walk. Because until you sign public offering statement, right, they can still have the right to walk. So you couldn't sign that until...
These were units they were going to buy?
Yeah. Okay. So they bought it, right? Yeah. But the last hurdle for any investor, they want to walk away without losing earnest money, losing anything, is they have to sign the public offering statement when you do condominium buildings.
All right.
Well, we're 6 months away from being complete, and the market took a turn. 200 out of 250 decided I'm backing out.
Okay.
So I left with 50 units, and there's no way I can sell 200 units by the end of 2028.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, scrambling, and then in my meditation, I realized the only way we can save this because the market's going the other way because the sales are slow. So we turned it into an apartment building. So we went to the bank and said, hey man, let me turn this into an apartment building so we can save the loan, save everything. And they're like, okay, I'll give you 1 year to lease this building up. So I had to get rid of all the other 50, then lease the whole thing, and we leased the whole thing in a year. We got it done. We went back to the bank and said, hey man, it was all done. It's leased up, right? We worked our ass off. Give me permanent financing. And then the bank meltdown.
Oh no.
Remember that, 2010?
Yeah.
And the bank says, right now, we can't afford to take a $41 million note.
Yeah.
We got too many pre-closure. We need our money.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you 90 days to sell this building. Otherwise, we're going to have to take your building back. So we got the building already. We put it on the market. And we went out to offer. We had like 60, 70 offer. And then at the end, there was 3 offer. And then Equity Residents out of Chicago, they ended up buying it. And our total loan was like 50 million. And they bought it for like 50 million and 100,000, something like that. It's like a little over 50 million. So we made no money.
Yeah, all those people, they did get their money back.
They got. It took everybody, including me, because I was an investor and an operator. All the investors, we took about a 20% haircut.
Oh man.
But I will tell you, if there was 10 buildings out there, 8 out of 10 got repo. And so...
Right, that was actually the best outcome from everything else that's going on.
So what I learned from that, for me, was sometimes doing big building, you gotta have deep pocket to rise the up and the lows. And I didn't have deep pocket enough to ride that. See? Number 2, you gotta make sure you have the right partners. During these hard times, my partner shows true color, and it made it hard for us to try to save the building in the appropriate time. He dragged his feet out on getting this building on the market. If we would have got this thing sold and we could have actually got it closed in time, we could have beat this whole odd. And then the thing I learned about it is that if you show people you're gonna fight until the end, they respect you. And so by the time I went back and I gave everybody their check, I walked to their house and I gave everybody the check. They were thankful that I even got their check back with 75% of the money back. And they said, whenever you ever need money again, you come back.
Well, I had a very stressful period, not because of what was going on in the market, but because of some errors I made. We grew our business, DealMachine, 4 or 5 years without any marketing at all. It's all word of mouth. So very fortunate for that. No investors, and it was cash flow positive. I thought that if I hired more product and engineering people, that's what got us to where we are. And product and engineering people are very expensive. But I was very gung-ho about reinvesting in my business. So I added 20 extra people in like a 2-month period. And at the same time, there were a couple other apps that came out. And so a very profitable business all of a sudden became zero profitable. And I was really stressed out about, I had personally just purchased, the biggest house I had ever lived in. It was $1 million, so nothing crazy. But in Indianapolis, it's like towards the top of the market. So I felt like guilt. I felt stress. I didn't want to let anyone down who just quit their job to come work at my company. And I was also worried about what the culture would be if I did have to make some type of cuts. And I'll just say that we worked through it. I didn't let anyone out, but stress can impact your relationships, not only with your friendships, but significant other.
Yeah.
It definitely impacts your sleep.
Right.
And my best advice, and also I didn't reach out to any peers or friends for help. And that's the moment you should, right? And so if that ever happened to me again, I got out of that through doing exercise at the 75 hard.
Yes.
Started picking up good habits like reading books.
Yes.
Tired my body so that it was like forced to fall asleep.
Right.
And then started, communicating, reaching out to like peers, mastermind groups, etc. So I was just curious if you had any stress and tips for dealing with stress that can come sometimes in business.
Yeah, man, that's a good question, dude. First of all, you got to be more of a no than a yes.
What do you mean by that?
Everybody really says yes. Ugly house, no profit, I buy it. You know what I mean? Oh, single family, I buy it. Multi-family, never done it in my life. Oh, I'm a yes. That's how they get in trouble. They're yes to everything. You know what I mean? You got to get clear on what it is. If you're going to do this business at the beginning, you might not know what you love. Once you're in this business long enough, you know what you're going to like. And I try to teach people the thing that make the most ROI today. Today, the highest ROI is ADU. That's why I'm doing it. I can do apartment building, I can do multifamily, I can do ground up, I can do rehab, I can do all that. But why am I going to do something that give me the least ROI with the most amount of headache? If you're doing it, all you're doing it for the flex.
So what's the flex for you?
The flex for me is peace of mind. And if I'm going to have 8 hours in a day, I want the biggest ROI for my 8 hours.
Yes.
Right? And I want peace of mind.
So you're saying that you'll say no to just any type of deal that's not going to give you the ROI that you need.
That's right.
Got it.
That's right. So that's number one. I think number two is you got to work out. Number three is this is what I'm doing every day, right? Still, I've been doing this for 10 plus years. Every day you got to start off with writing gratitudes. Every day. See, we write gratitude when things are going shitty.
Yeah.
Right? Then we don't write gratitude when things are going good.
Yeah.
That's what got us there in the first place.
Yep.
Right? And so I have to be reminded, I have to always preach to the students, look, you get every day, right? 10 things what you appreciate every day. Every day. And then 10 things what you want in your life. You got to make it out of habit. Right? And you can't just be writing gratitude, right? When, when things ain't working right, that's the only time you write it. That ain't gonna work.
Right.
You gotta write everything like it's a habit.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been really, the market has been adjusting, and I've gone through this, 4 times.
Yes.
I've been in this business for almost 4 decades already.
Yes.
And it's just another COVID time in this time. It's gonna pass. It's not a big deal. Matter of fact, it's very small. This is very small compared to what some of the other stuff I've gone through, right?
Yeah.
But writing gratitude is the biggest thing. If there's one thing someone can do every day, if they just write gratitude every day,
yes,
and 10 things one thing they appreciate and thankful for every day, telling what they want in their life, and they just do that, it's a game changer.
Got it. So physical exercise, saying no to deals that don't give you the ROI.
Yes.
And writing 10 gratitudes.
Yeah, don't get sold, man, on just the next shiny object.
Yeah.
Be clear on what your shiny object is.
Yep. I've used the gratitude journal before, but somehow got out of the habit. So
of course.
I need to
It's
go,
all of us,
I need
man.
to go get back into
all of
it.
us.
One of the things that you just mentioned was you've been through 4 market cycles.
Yes.
So there's a market cycle clock you actually taught your students when I was on the call one time.
Yes.
And you remind me of the cycles again,
Yes.
right? And I want to know what time it is right now in your opinion.
That's right. So first of all, I didn't learn this by myself. I learned this from a lot of great people that been around me, right? There's a thing called the 10-year cycle.
Yeah.
And some people believe it or not, but it is.
I've heard Ray Dalio mention that.
Okay, there you go.
There's short-term cycles, and then there's a long-term cycle.
There you go.
So the 10-year cycle is the long-term
There you
cycle.
go. Basically, every roughly 8 to 10 years, the market climbs.
Yeah.
And then every 2 to 3 years, it adjusts itself. And then it starts again. So this is my 4th cycle I've been in.
Yep.
I don't panic. I mean, think about most of the people that sold off their stock recently.
Right.
Who made out like a bandit? All the people with money, they bought it again.
Who bought it when it was low. That's
right? You see what I mean?
Yes.
So I tell all my students, you don't panic. You don't get hurt unless you sell. And I also tell all my students, you get into real estate, it's a marathon, not a sprint. If it's a sprint, go fix and flip houses and wholesale. That's the sprint.
Yes.
But if you buy rental, I want you to think long term. Because when the market go down, you don't like get hurt. People still need to rent.
Right.
So the 10-year cycle, every 8 to 10 years goes up. Every 2 3 years adjusts, so right now we are at the new run again.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
They say we're at the bottom right now, starting the new run again.
Even though prices are kind of high still?
Yeah.
In
fact, you think about it right now. Number one, some area, some market, some product prices are dropping.
I know Austin did drop about 15% last year or so.
So some areas, some market, it dropped a little bit, but it's just because we're going through these times.
Yeah.
But it ain't gonna drop a ton. So, matter of fact, Lennox, the owner of my company, he's national kind of guy. He says that we're at the bottom. We're working out. Market, it's the price come down a certain area. Like fixer upper ain't going down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if the ARV got down a little bit, we buy the fixer upper a little bit lower. Rehab came down a little bit. So we make it up in the value add game, right? But this price, it ain't gonna drop 20%, 15%. It might make some adjustment, but the biggest challenge is we still don't have enough housing. That's the thing. That's our biggest problem. We don't have enough housing. So good houses, in good location, depending on what product it is, you still get good demand for it. But Lennox says that we're probably going to go through the rest of this year, but he see that rates is going to start dropping, probably sometime in the year beginning of 2026, and when the rates drop, prices go. So right now we're in that adjusting moment, and we're hitting. So for me, that's why I tell people, let's buy right now, make it work now, because you are going to be at the beginning of this 10-year run, and you're going to win. Don't get caught in the middle, buying at the middle of the end, because you're buying at the peak again, like 2022.
Yes, but you don't stop buying in the middle either, though, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, because I buy everything.
Make it work right now.
That's right. I'll make it work right now, wherever right now is. But, of course, if you start early, you can get the 10-year run.
So extra important to start now.
Yeah, super now. Because this is, again, my fourth cycle right now.
Yeah.
And this is where I see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this cycle over here, it's no different than the cycle back then when the stock market busted again, right? Or, you know what I mean? Or the tech boom busted.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's just another time.
You've said that fix and flip is a job. It's a sprint.
It is.
And I don't think you do fix and flip anymore, right? Because of that reason?
I only do it if it's a no-brainer deal.
Got it.
Today, I only do...
Big enough ROI. Right?
Yes, you got it. I only do something if I'm going to trade my time in and the ROI was worth my investment.
What does it mean when you say you don't have a microwave mindset?
Yes. The microwave mindset is people... Now, I had the microwave mindset when I was younger. I get in, and all I want to do is sell real estate as an agent, wholesale, fix, flip, wholesale, fix, and flip. Put things in a microwave, 1 minute later, I get out and I'm eating. That's great, but you're not setting yourself up for tomorrow, where if you're not working, you can't eat. The problem, everybody is so, right now, I think people should do both. Work the short game.
Yes.
Invest the money from the short game, some of it, into the long game. That way, 20 years now, you look back, you have net worth, you have passive income, you have tax write-off, but you're also working the short game so you can actually have a good lifestyle going towards. So we're not saying don't do this. This is where everybody on social media get it twisted when they go, oh, $200 is not going to change your life. I didn't say we are quitting our 9-to-5 job to live off the $200 a month in passive income. I'm saying do both. I still got my active income. I got passive income. But I will tell you this to you. If you don't park your money in passive income now, you won't do it 10 years from now when it's even more expensive, right? But 10, 20 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to go, man, all that business I created, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, it never compounded to the net worth I have today. Because you think about it, real estate is the only asset that actually it leverage off of the appraised value, not of your down payment value.
Right. So you can get a lot of exposure to the capital gains that can happen, right? Or the appreciation that can happen.
You buy a property $500,000, you put down 20%, you put $100,000 in. You go to a bank, you go, give me $100,000 worth of stock. They give you $100,000 worth of stock, and it's valued at $100,000. You go to a bank, give me $100,000, and the bank says, good, you can buy a house for $500,000, and the renter's paying for it. Even if you don't make any extra payment, the renter's paying for it, paying it down for you. You get the tax write-off, you get the cash flow later, but you get compound appreciation. So if a market double every 10 years based on history, that means that 10 years from now, it'd be worth 1 million. So you made 500,000.
Was there something in your life that actually made you stop the microwave mindset?
I think a whole bunch of time. I was selling real estate at a high volume. I was selling.
You were a realtor as well.
Yeah, I was a realtor.
Actually, primarily.
Still do it today. I was selling about 150 homes a year, which back then most people were selling 30 homes a year.
That's one every 3 days.
Yeah.
Every 2 days.
Yeah. My wife and I and one assistant, and I was on a treadmill running at Mach speed.
About as fast as you could go.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And you can't get off the treadmill if you want to go on vacation. And if you do get off the treadmill on vacation, you got to make it quick so you can get back. You know what I mean? And then also, I can't get off the treadmill in the future because where the hell am I going to make any money to live? And my mentor saw used to always pound on my head. Active income will make you rich. Passive income make you wealthy. Passive income will trade your money for time. Active income, you trade your time to make money. How many years do you want to keep trading your time to make money? Because at some point, you're gonna get to the point you're gonna get old and you can't run that fast on the treadmill no more.
Right. I always said I wanted to retire by 40, even though there's no way I'd retire, but at least you have the ability to.
You have the option.
Right.
So Saul used to always say to me, when do you want to have the option to work or not work? When I was 25 years old. Right? And I said, I like to have the option to work and not work around 40. And he said, well, how much passive income do you think you need to have every month to live comfortable?
Somebody asked you that?
My mentor, Saul, right?
Oh, Saul, I don't know him.
Yeah, you haven't met him yet. And I said, Saul, it cost me about $8,000 to live. About 20 grand? That was a lot of money back then. 20 grand.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so I said, all right, what's the average rent? I said, 2,000. Well, you need 10 houses. Why don't you dedicate yourself, go make a lot of active income, peel some of that money up. For now, just accumulate, buy them, don't pay them off. Put 20% down on 10 houses, one after another. Once you're done with that, then just put it on pause on buying for a minute, and then let's pay them off or trade them up for better cash flow so you can get to your 20 grand.
Yeah.
And after I did that, then I was out of the rat race. I had the option to work and not work. Now I'm more and more inspired because I don't have a gun in my head. Now I got even more creative. I started doing new construction because I did it without feeling the risk if I lose it, but I'm not gambling my 20 houses.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
So from there, I scale from there. Most people do the opposite. They just keep scaling and scaling and leveraging, but they got to keep running. See, until you're old enough, you can't understand that yet. There's a lot of people out there on stage that are young. They're only in their 30s. They haven't been around long enough yet.
Tell me about your first deal. Not the realtor deal, but the first deal. I guess, was it a BRRRR deal, or was it a fix and flip, or was it? It was just
a basic turnkey house.
Yeah. And it cash flowed in just turnkey like that in Seattle?
Back then.
It's hard to find that now,
yeah,
right?
You can't do that now in the expensive market. Just any expensive market.
Correct.
I was out door knocking because that was my thing. Still door knock today. I was out door knocking, 100 doors a day, 5 days a week, for 10 years, right? I knocked on this door and an older couple answer and they're like, yeah, I want to sell it. So I go and meet them and did the whole listing presentation. And then they're like, yeah, I'd sell it for 110, right? And then Saul was like, you should buy the house, right? And then I said, well, can I buy this minus my 6% commission? And they said, sure. So I ended up buying it for like 105. I put down 5%, first time home buyer, and I bought it.
Yeah.
And then after I painted it all up and everything back then, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna stay with my mom and dad. I'm just gonna rent it. And I turned it into a rental, and it cash flowed back then because rates was cheap, right? Property was cheap. Rent in Seattle never dropped, you know what I mean? Like crazy. Even though when the market slowed down, it doesn't drop proportional to the market, right? And it cash flow, and today I had, 4 renter in there, and they paid it off for me. And that was my first deal. And that's when I got hooked. My wife and I got hooked. And everything I made, every time I made enough money, I'll buy me another property. Every time I made enough money, I'll buy another property. And now my goal was to put 20% down. At the beginning, I was doing 5%, 5%, 5%, so I couldn't do that house hack anymore.
Yep.
The 10%, 20%. But every time I made enough money, I bought a property. That was my focus. Because my whole goal was I wanted to buy 10 property and get them paid off. Because I wanted to have the option to work and not work. I wanted them to have the option to get off the treadmill and still make money or stay on the treadmill. Because Saul said to me, you want to have your money work for you, my friend, when you're sleeping like the tree growing in your backyard. That's how you'd be. You're playing smart.
Yeah, you don't see it, and then overnight, a couple years later, it's really big.
Yeah. And that's why today I see so many investors, you know, they're young, and they all want the microwave mentality also in rental.
What does the balance look like for you and your wife now that you're not on the microwave mindset?
Yeah. Today, we only buy what we call no-brainer deals.
Yep.
It has to be no-brainer. And we have either single family with ADU play, multifamily, or apartment building. Nothing outside of that, only in Seattle. So I'm very clear. In Seattle, in a certain section of Seattle, and then it has to be these 3 things. And I'm going to note everything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen you bring your kids to your deals.
That's right.
How do you make sure that your kids have the skills to earn their own money?
That's a good question. All I can do right now is be an example, which every kid want to see their parent be an example. You can't tell the kid, don't smoke, and you're smoking.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Right. Go invest, but you ain't investing. How's that going to work? Right? So I think as long as you invest, show them what you're doing, show them how you buy property, they're going to be interested. And so my kid got interested when they're younger, and we used to, you know, they get money from birthday. In the Asian culture, you get money for everything. You get money for your birthday, you get money for, you know, doing chores, you get money for washing my car. They give you money for everything. So the cool thing for them was they used to save all their money. So one time we did a flip, and I said, hey, you want to learn how to do it in real estate? Put some money up. We'll give you a percentage of your money in the deal, but you got to come out and you got to learn and help. And so they did, and then we sold it, and they made a big chunk of money. They were happy, and we did a couple deals with them on that. And then one day, I said to them, hey, we just bought this apartment building. We're rehabbing it and need 3 sets of washer and dryer. I got this idea for you. If you guys buy the washer and dryer, which all 3 of them back then was like, I think it was like $8,000, 3 sets.
Yeah.
If you guys put up $8,000, you guys can own the washer and dryer, and you can go over there with Uncle Phil, and every month you guys can go collect the coins. And they're like, 8,000? Well, Hudson and I, that's all of our money. We don't have no more money.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, all right, but let's think about this. Let's say we make $1,000 a month, positive. How long would it take you to get your money back? They're like, $1,000? Because they already paid cash for it already.
Yeah.
Well, 8 months, I get my money back. Well, after you get your money back, you can have $1,000 forever. Now it's $1,500 a month now, right?
Yeah.
They're like, well, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that's how they got started in the wash and dry business.
Yeah.
They bought it, and then every month, Phil go over there and check on things on the maintenance building. That's his uncle. He worked with us, and then they go over there. They go collect their money, and so they got hooked to that. And then when we did our second building, and they bought the second set of buildings, right? And so that's how they got involved in it. So to answer your question, I think lead by example, but that's everything. That's not even with your kid. That's just adults. If you do it right, everybody want to follow you.
Would you be upset if they didn't do real estate full
Not at
time?
All. Not at all. We had this talk already with them, right? I think this is what Hudson said to me the other day. He says, I'm not sure if I want to be a realtor or out wholesaling as my career. But I will say that whatever I do for a living, I am going to take my money and I'm buying real estate as rental.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, because, real estate is, you can make active income through real estate.
Yeah.
And you can make passive income. So Hudson's like, I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but I'm not sure if I want to be a realtor or be a wholesaler to go make money. But whatever I do for a living, I would definitely take my money and I'm buying rental.
How do you find your deals, by the way?
That's a good question. Number one, we use you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
So I have a team. I have a small team, not a big team.
Yeah.
And we have a list. So when we have this parameter where I work, I just go after a specific niche. I want to master this section of Seattle. And in there, when I take your guys' program, I draw out this area. And then I look for ugly houses on 5,000 square foot lot, corner lot. We all talk about this. Alley access, side yard to get to the back. And it has a certain value of the land that's greater than the structure of the house. So that means it tells me that structure of the house is a fixer. and the land has some good value in it. Owner has to own it for a long time, ideally low on their mortgage, and it had to be single family zoning. So I get that parameter and I have a list. Once I make that list and I get their name and number, I just work that list over and over and over. I knock on there. When I'm in the area, I knock on it. I call in the past, I mail in the past. I talk to everybody now multiple times. So today, I still have the same list. I work it, and that's how I find my deal for many, many years. I found all my deals from doing that. Now today, on top of that, I have a lot of people on the streets that know me now in Seattle because I have earned my stripe because I walk the talk, right?
Well, you're present on social media.
Yeah, that too.
And I believe the story goes, somebody actually came to you and made you a video, right?
That's right.
And they said, I need to make these videos so people can hear your message.
That's right. So I used to have this, I was speaking one day, and all of a sudden, this is when Facebook just came out, and I saw my video. I'm like, who the hell made this video? And I noticed a girl named Stacia Liu made the video. She posted it on. Then I called her and I was like, you made this video? She said, yeah. He's like, yeah, this is a new thing now, video, Facebook. I was like, really? What do you do for a living? So I do, marketing. I was like, let's talk. And so I hired her, right, to come do some of my work. And then about 4 years later, she moved to San Diego. And then I had this young guy named Lorenz come to me and say, hey man, can I interview you? I was like, all right. So he interviewed me, and then I asked him, what do you do for a living? He says, I do YouTubing, right, and Instagram, and I do skits. And I was like, really? I was like, why don't you come and be an intern for me, and I teach you about real estate, right? And if I like it, you can work longer. So 90 days after intern, right, he showed me that he has skill, and I hired him to run my social media. And I taught him how to go out there and find deals, right, by using this list. And now Lorenz been working with me now for like 5 years. So he handled all the social media.
That's awesome. And he's still there, and it started with, was it him that posted the video? Or
Stacia started first, and then she left, and then Lorenz came in.
Gotcha.
But that's how I found my deal. People send me deals. Realtors send me deals. We find our own deals. We cold call, we do fly, we do all that. But other people send me deals now. And the key is, with everybody out there listening, you got to be consistent.
Yes.
That's the whole key.
I've heard you say that it's really important for the people that you work with, or especially your partner, to grow together.
Oh, man.
I think specifically you've said you and your wife have really done a lot of personal development over the years.
That's right. My big saying is that if you don't grow together, you're gonna basically grow apart from each other.
Right.
So Cameron and I, from day one, always been a learner. And so when we got into real estate, when I was 21 years old, we went to all the real estate seminar. So her and I will go together, we learn together. So we go on the seminar, we done real estate seminar together, we done Tony Robbins stuff together, we done spiritual coaching together like Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer. We learned from all these people for many, many years, right? Abraham Hicks, we done all that. So we're on the same mindset on spiritual. We work out together, right? Every morning since back then, still do today, right? And so it makes it so that when I'm feeling frustrated, Cammy understand why and she can coach me. When she's going through things, I can coach her, versus when your spouse is down here and you're frustrated because you're building a business, they don't understand, right? And it makes the gap even more tougher. And that's why I think that if you don't grow together, you're gonna grow apart. And it makes it hard, especially when somebody is trying to grow. So I'm a big believer that as a spouse, you should grow together personally anyways. Personal, you don't have to be professional, but personal, mentally, spiritual, you should grow together. It just makes life easier.
One of the things that you said at the beginning of this that I actually didn't realize was that you were homeless at some point. I knew you weren't born in this country.
That's right.
And I knew you came over, but I didn't know that. I can't really actually put the words to ask the right question about, like, what is that even like to not have a place to sleep?
A lot of people don't realize that my dad worked for the U.S. military back in Vietnam. And then in 1975, during the war, he was a translator for the U.S. Troops during the war. And then when the U.S. decided to pull out in Vietnam, the Vietnam War, and the communists coming in to take over the whole country, we was lucky enough to leave with the U.S. troop on the last plane.
Because he was the translator.
That's right. Because they let him go on the plane with the U.S. troops.
Yeah.
So otherwise, you'd be stuck. My dad, my mom, my 4 brothers, and then my mom was pregnant with my sister. And then my uncle and his 2 kids, they came along. Because my dad came home, picked us up, and we went by trying to pick up all of my aunts and my uncle, and no one was home.
Is it rare that your dad knew English?
He learned some English, yes.
How did he learn the English?
Because he went to school back then, and then he was working with the U.S. people early on, all right? And he flew to the U.S. a couple of times, he said, in the past, right? So he learned that. And so we left on the last plane, and then we landed in San Diego, and but there were so many refugees. So they used Camp Pennington as a refugee camp for everybody. So that was the homeless shelter. We lived there.
That's in
San Diego. That's right.
Yep.
We lived there for a few months. And then Governor Evans migrated about 500 families up to Washington State. And they used this other place called Camp Murray, which is like another Camp Pennington. They used all those shelters.
So it's like a barracks? Just
barracks.
Like,
that's it. Just barracks. You know, how all the refugees. Yeah.
Charles Zettler. Sharing with other families and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So no privacy.
No privacy. Charles Zettler, who was a volunteer, he decided to sponsor our family to go live with him and his mom, because you cannot.
What did that mean?
That means that when you live in a homeless shelter, you can't have permanent housing unless someone is sponsored you go live with them. Either like a private person like Charles, or a lot of times churches sponsor people. Go, hey, I got a family that will sponsor you, right?
How did Charles link up with? Was he like talking with your dad a lot?
Yeah, so he was a volunteer there.
Yep.
And he connected with my dad when they was there, and then he decided to take us in, and that's how we ended up living with Charles. And that was the first time we ended up out of the shelter. And that's why today I have 8 core value, right? Core value number 1 is my highest core value. That's why today, even my deals, everything I do had to align to the core value. So core value number 1 is contribution. That's my highest core value. Core value number 2 is abundance. Abundance of air, time, money. Core value number 3 is growth, creativity, simplicity, right? Balance and family, right? And joy. Those are my 8 core value. When anybody present me a deal or an opportunity, it has to line up to all 8 value. I don't want to make a lot of money if it's not simple. I don't want to make a lot of money if I can't make a difference in the world with it. You see what I mean? They all have to go hand in hand. So today...
So like, for example, making a difference in the world would be like this house that was run down is now a product that somebody can live in, right?
That's right. That's right.
Part of the purpose.
Yeah, so to give you an example. One of the things I do today is I provide housing for low-income families so they can get out of the homeless shelter. So my house is called permanent housing.
Yeah.
So that is honoring Charles Zettler for helping us. So today I own abundant property where I work with nonprofit, and then the family come out of homeless shelter, they go through the nonprofit, and the nonprofit get the Section 8 voucher, and then they pay me, and then I use my house to rent to them and not worry about first, last, and deposit and credit. So I got a batch for that.
Yeah.
Then I have another batch where me and the Springboard company, our team, we go out there and we work with the Seattle Sounders FC, the soccer team, the national soccer team, Seattle. And we go out there and we help raise money to build soccer field in low-income neighborhood for the kid can play.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So we do that. That's another part of something we do, because that's giving back, making a difference. Money's not involved in it, but it's making a difference.
Yeah.
Now on the opposite side, I got an opportunity to invest in a casino in Costa Rica. And I put up $250,000.
Okay.
And I lost that money. And that was my dad.
Way.
That was my dad's HELOC money.
Really?
Yes.
What happened in the casino in Costa Rica?
I had no knowledge of Costa Rica real estate.
Okay.
I had no connection other than you know Stephanie. And Stephanie said, I know someone that's building a casino and they're raising money. You know her from just knowing her, but you said that, Stephanie's great, you know what I mean? So I trust you, but Stephanie didn't come through. And I lost my dad's HELOC. I convinced my dad, let me get $250,000. No, man, don't touch my house. Dad, we can make money on that. And I got it, and I lost it.
Got it.
Right? But I made it back, and I gave it back to him, right? What did I learn from that? I know nothing about real estate in Costa Rica.
Yep.
I know nothing about casino. I know nothing about Stephanie. And it ain't simple. And that was my life lesson of simplicity. That's why it's part of the core value today.
Well, what's something that brings you joy? That was one of your values that you, and that's just the simplest word in itself. It's 3 letters.
Yeah. Well, number one, making a difference.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's why Springboard.
So it
right?
does tie into other things.
Yeah. Springboard was that. Springboard came out of that. Right? Springboard, my good friend Moose came to me a long time ago, like 10 years ago, teach me how to invest in real estate. I teach him, he started buying rental. Next thing I knew, Moose told somebody else, "That's, man, you help Moose." I help him, and next thing I knew, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all of a sudden, I had hundreds of people wanting me to teach them. I couldn't do that. Then, right, I met my partner today, Stephanie Owens, and she became part owner of Springboard. She said, "Let me help build this thing with you, and we can coach people." And then today, people say, "You got so much money. Why bother even doing it?" Because it's part of Charles Zettler's vision. If it wasn't Charles Zettler, we'd be living in a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
Well, for Charles Zettler, we wouldn't have got our first house. So Springboard is more than just coaching people how to invest in real estate. Springboard is a platform where all these students who own houses, they get to have the same vision of what I gone through, what Charles helped me.
Is Charles around today?
He passed away, but I've communicated with him many times before he passed away. So, yeah.
Man, it's crazy how much of an impact he had on your whole family.
That's why I'm a Charles Zettler.
And then everyone else who's gone through Springboard, because he's the
reason
why you did that.
Charles part of that. Saul's part of that. Student today, they get to live that because I'm their Charles, I'm their Saul. And today, when they have that, they get to understand, man, I get to make a difference. So they get to reap making a difference. So that's why Springboard's vision is creating happy millionaire, not just millionaire. Because what's the point of making millions if you ain't happy? What does happy mean? I mean, whatever it means to somebody, contribution, growth, joy, whatever it is that means for them. But they just not millionaire, they happy millionaire. And that's why that's the vision of Springboard.
I'm glad we got to talk about that because it makes me think about if there's any additional purpose I can bring to what I'm doing other than what I've currently got going on. And as we wrap up, I did want to give Chris the ability to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
A bunch of online personalities like Alex Hormozi, Gary Vee, Dan Martell say that you have to live an unbalanced lifestyle to be successful, but you preach the opposite.
Yeah.
Live a balanced lifestyle. So what do you know that they don't?
That's a good question. I think that as you're growing, it is a little bit of, it's hard to be all 100% balanced if you're growing. I think the ultimate goal is to find some kind of balance. But everybody have their own, not everybody has a high priority for a peace of mind. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's peace of mind. Some people value peace of mind, some people don't. I'm 55, and I don't want to have a gun to my head for the rest of my life. Some people do. It's okay because they value something different. But I can tell you one thing. There's one thing everybody have in common. When themselves or someone gets sick and die from cancer, their priority changes. When my dad was dying from cancer, I had $6 million in the bank. I was a hustler, right? Straight just hustling, just like you said, in balance. Go out to eat, I made money, I was feeling great, I was going out eating, wasn't taking care of my life. If you are working all of there's 8 equity in life, I always say. There's physical, mental, spiritual, career, finances, social fun, family, right? There's all these. Tony Robbins talks about it. What's more important than the other one? They're all as important, right? Is money more important than family? Hey, some people might think so because they have the priority different, right? But let a family pass away from cancer, then you realize how important, like, shit, you know what? All this money I had, I couldn't do shit to help my family out. What's more important, right? And Zig Ziglar talk about this all the time, right? What's the point of having a million if you ain't healthy? So I think that when you're growing, you're gonna have a little imbalance. But Tony Robbins said the goal is to try to keep this, we call it the wheel circle, he says, try to keep the wheel as close as possible so you have an even ride. So when my dad was dying from cancer, I had $6 million. And I told my dad, I'm gonna save you, bro. I'm gonna save you. And we went through 1 year of chemo, took him everywhere I could, and he died. And in that moment, I realized I was a hustler. I was out there working all the time. I should have spent more time with my dad. And $6 million couldn't buy his time back. And then I realized, right, what's important. So really, it's what's important to people. And I think that physical is as important as family. Family, physical is as important as building your career, your finances. Having fun, it should be as important as working. You know what I mean? So to say that, you know, working all the time and not having fun, if that's what they think, you know what I mean? It should be like, hey, go for it. You know what I mean? But I think if you can keep the wheel, you know what I mean, as close as you can, I think you live good, man. You know what I mean? Who want to be? This is what my mentor Saul says. Who want to be in the boardroom at 70, 80 years old, still reporting to a damn board of bankers and investors?
Yeah.
You should be enjoying your life. You work the first 50 year hard, take the second 50 year, enjoy your life. But if you want to grind it out and you want to keep putting the gun to the back of your head, if that's your priority, then go for it. But it makes no sense to me. But that's a damn good question, bro.
Thank you.
I hear that all the time. I hear a lot of time. I see those guys. I see it.
Well, the thing is too is that I've always had the same mindset as you.
Yeah.
Because like it's like, yeah, I obviously want to do great financially, but you know, at what cost if I don't see my family? You know,
that's why we say happy millionaire.
Yeah.
You can have both.
Yep.
It just has to be important.
Yeah. It's the same thing when I hear some people say work your weekends, but when you work the weekends, it also takes away from the life you want to live.
Now, I would say, when I was younger, I had to work the weekend because I was putting in my time. And if you're smart, you put in your time early, then you take the money, you park it in some good investments, so you're creating one of your equity called finances.
Yeah.
So later on, when you get older, like me, you can actually say, I choose not to work the weekend because I got kids now and I want to take my kid to the baseball tournament.
Yeah.
You see, I can tell you this also. I live in a very high-end neighborhood in Seattle. And in that neighborhood, lots of kids play sports in that neighborhood. And I hate to say it, but there's a lot of Asians that live in this community. And the saddest thing is that a lot of the rich mom and dad, the Asians, they're so busy building their empire because they have the thing said that I don't want my kids to suffer when they're young. I mean, when they get older, I want to make sure that we have it all so that they don't have to suffer what I went through to get to where I'm at. So I want to work hard so I can set it up so they can have a good life later. And they're the same parent that have their nanny drop their kid off at a baseball tournament and baseball practice and pick him up.
Yeah.
Think about that. Bro.
Yeah, exactly.
What's success then? What does that mean then?
Yeah.
Right?
David, actually, can I have you ask one of these two questions?
If you had to start from zero again, no money, no connections, just hustle, how would you build a real estate empire in 12 months?
Yes, that's a good question. I get that question asked all the time, even from a lot of my students that just joined. Number one, I will figure out what's the neighborhood I really want to focus on. I always say, right, there's 4 markets. There's A, B, C, D market. A is the affluent neighborhood. D is the rough neighborhood. C is coming out of there. B is more balanced. If I was starting over and I need to make some money, right, I would, if all I know how to do is real estate, I would wholesale all 4 markets, and I will flip and find deal in all 4 markets. Because I can wholesale and flip in any of these markets. I do that to build capital.
Okay.
I have no relationship, but I can find deals. No one's gonna give me no money if I don't know nobody.
Right.
So I will go out there and build my own money by wholesaling, flipping houses right away. I will focus on wholesaling a lot because I can build my own money without waiting too long to get the money. Because flipping will take a little bit of time, right?
Yep.
I will do a bunch of wholesale, flip the real good ROI one, and I'll build my capital up quick. And then from there, as soon as I find a good property where I can buy as value add, not turnkey, a BRRRR, ugly house, where if I rehab it, I get 25% in gross profit, a margin. If it's in a B or C neighborhood, I'm keeping it as a rental. Because I can refi, get my original cash back out, and I can deploy it and do it again. So I would do wholesale, flip houses. I will buy BRRRR so I can get my down payment money back out without killing all my cash. And I will repeat that for 12 months.
Yep.
That's what I would do.
So you could wholesale in any of those markets.
Yes. And flip.
It's the B or C that you need to keep because that's where the cash flow is possible.
That's right. And get at least 25% in the value add so you can refi and get your original down payment money back out.
All that money is usable for the next.
Nice, got it. Yep. You got it. And I can do that without asking anybody for no money.
What's your go-to strategy in a down market where everyone's playing scared?
Yes. Right now, I see people are playing scared now. Oh, rates are high, right? The only one who say rates are high are the newbies. OG people like me go, man, this is great. Because I've been at 13% interest rate, 8%, 9%. My mentor was at 18%. So when I put it in perspective, we were hella lucky to get 3.99. But every newbie still keep comparing 3.99 to 7, and they're sitting on the fence waiting for it to go down close to 4% again.
Correct. And in your history, there's been 20%.
Hell yeah, right? 18%, bro, when I started this game.
Yeah.
Right? So I look at that, I'm thinking, man, if I could buy rental back there, it was at 9%, shit, 6.87%, it's still a good deal. But we will go down more. It won't go down to 3.99 unless it's a crisis. But we don't want a crisis. So what I'm doing today is, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm teaching all my friends and all my students. Everybody's scared and they're on the sideline. Good, stay there. Let's figure out where the B's and the C neighborhood is.
Yep.
That's why we love using you guys, because we can teach them how to draw the map out. This is A, this is D, this is B and C. If you want to wholesale, flip, just go find, low, high equity, ugly, distressed property and just wholesale, just turn your money. But if you want to find good keeper, use your list, find the B and C neighborhood, find the property that is ugly with a backyard. This is the new age real estate hack. You rehab the house, you create sweat equity, which is the BRRRR. You add the ADU in the back, which will create massive equity again, and the cash flow of that is crazy, and it can also help add more cash flow to the front. You keep that for now. You refinance it later on when the market comes down, and it's even going to be even better.
Yep.
That's the new game right now that I'm telling all my friends and students, you got to get into that game now, because when everybody knows about it, it's over. And this is what I'm going to say on stage. BRRRR strategy and ADU combined together is like Bitcoin at 2010.
Yeah, that's like something I want to get in on.
Right?
Yep.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Look, in November of last year, all the city council and zoning people from all over the United States came to Seattle for a meeting.
They all came to Seattle.
You know why?
You guys are leading the way with the ADU zoning changes?
We're the first state that can separate them, sell them separately.
Got it.
Right? And they want to learn how to do that.
Got it. I do have a question about you, though.
Yes.
You've mentioned stocks that people sold, 2 months ago when it was down and then they lost money, and Bitcoin. Do you do any of that yourself, or you only do real estate?
I don't do Bitcoin, but I do stocks. Right? When everybody go down, we buy some more stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. We don't. I used to be the microwave mindset.
Yep.
I'm the oven mindset. I'm the marathon mindset.
Slow cooker.
Yeah. I don't sell any of my real estate. I don't sell it. I don't believe in selling it. I believe in 1031 in them, but I don't sell. I don't sell the cash out. If I need it, I refi, get some money out. I don't sell my rental. Some of them I keep and I pay them off. Some of them I trade up and get better property.
Yep.
But I don't ever sell. And that's how I got the $100 million today. You can't build wealth on short-term money.
And it's discipline.
It is.
When you have that, it prevents you from wasting your money that you're making on the treadmill and having nothing left to show for it. But if you live off of the cash flow, the asset continues to grow.
That's right. And look, just like you and me, and everybody out there investing. What the hell would you do anyways if you're sitting around doing nothing? Your brain will go to be a mush. Warren Buffett, 95 years old, he's still out there reading newspaper, analyzing stock. So everybody want to hear him get off their 9 to 5, right? Or get off their job. Just build the cash flow. When you get there, you can decide you want to quit or you want to keep doing something else. Mm-hmm. You're not going to quit. If most entrepreneurs won't quit, you get to choose to work whenever you want to work. Mm-hmm. So I still live off my cash flow and I live off my active income. But my active income today, I buy a lot of real estate with it. You see what I mean? So people get so like, oh man, I can't wait to retire. What are you gonna do? After about a year, you're gonna get bored. Especially if you're in real estate, you wanna keep buying. So I tell people, just keep working, just buy your property, get it paid off, then you can choose what you wanna do. And I will bet you most of the people, entrepreneur, they're itchy. They wanna just keep, they wanna keep doing things.
Yep.
But this time you're not doing it with a gun in the back of your head. That's what's fun about it.
One more question for Chris. Do you foresee another 2008 type crash happening anytime in the future?
Well, based on what I hear, talking to Saul and my mentor, Lennox and everybody, they don't see it. And the reason why, because we have the biggest housing shortage right now in America. We can't catch up. You might get a dip like what we're going through right now, but you're not gonna get a crazy crash because we just don't have enough houses to keep up. We're 5 to 8 million homes short right now. Mm-hmm. And I heard even Dave Ramsey said it, same thing. The lack of housing is just too big.
Yeah, if the demand if people can't find houses, how's the price gonna come down?
Yeah.
Yeah, simple as that.
Simple as that, baby.
Well, thanks. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more. Appreciate Chris bringing in some questions.
Good question, bro. I like that question, dog. I love that question.
And I think the biggest takeaway for me was the story about your dad where there's, you worked so hard, you had the money and that couldn't buy the time back.
That's
and
right.
You had sound like a bit of regret because you didn't spend more time earlier. So
all we got is time, bro.
Just know that story in itself, I could speak for myself, makes me think about, well, let me spend more time with people that I love now when it's possible to work that in.
That's right.
And so it does a lot of good, even though I know it hurts to tell it.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying time is the only thing we got. Mm-hmm. And we're so busy making money, but how much money do you really need to live a good life? That's the question. You know what I mean? Nobody need no damn Lamborghini. That's just pleasure, right? You can live a good life without it. Nobody needs 13 Lamborghinis. You know what I mean? But if you're gonna get 13 Lamborghini and you sacrificing your health and your family and your kid baseball tournament, you got your priority backwards.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, brother. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.